Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So, tell me a bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Samantha. I'm 53 years old. I have two boys, both in college now. I work online. I was born in Russia. I've been living in the U.S. Since I was about 12. I'm married to an American now, and we've been together 26 years. And that's really the reason why I'm here.
How so?
Well, my husband wanted me to come. We've been fighting a lot lately about how I keep the house, and he's threatening to move out if I don't stop collecting things.
Collecting things.
Yeah, I really hate to throw things out. It might be because of my Russian childhood. We never had what we needed, so whenever you saw something for sale, you bought it before it ran out. You never know when something would come in handy.
Could you give me an example?
Sure. When I was a kid, a rumor went around Moscow that baby diapers were available. So even though I was already 5 years old, my mom went out and stood in line to get diapers, just in case she had another baby. She knew that by the time she had another baby, diapers wouldn't be available, so she stocked up while she could.
And now?
I still like to stock up.
When you say stock up, what do you mean by that?
Well, if I see useful stuff at a yard sale, I just can't pass it up. Especially if it's cheap. You never know when it might come in handy.
I hear. And your husband has a problem with this, you say?
Yeah, he's American. He thinks you can just throw stuff out and buy it again when you need it. But it doesn't always work that way, does it?
I hear. How do you feel when he asks you to throw stuff out?
I absolutely hate throwing things out. I get so upset. Sometimes I have a few drinks to get over it. My husband wants me to get rid of things, like the stuff I got from my mom's house after she passed. But I love my mother. I just can't throw her stuff out.
What about stuff that you got at yard sales? Can you get rid of that stuff? How would you feel if your husband asked you to get rid of that?
Insecure. Deeply insecure. Like I was unprepared for whatever disaster might hit us. I would feel scared, also sad. You know, and among all that stuff are my parents' things, like when they brought over when they immigrated from Russia. And art projects my kids made when they're little, and just little mementos and keepsakes.
When you say mementos and keepsakes, like what?
You know, I save stubs when we go out to the movies and receipts from the dinners we have when me and my wife go out by ourselves. It's just, they're good memories from the good times.
So what is it that your husband objects to?
It's the minor things, really. The kitchen got a bit cluttered, so I set up a hot plate in the living room to cook on. It's easy. One of the bathroom doors is blocked off by boxes of things, electrical cords in this case. And he says one bathroom just isn't enough, but there are only two of us. What do we need an extra bathroom for?
And is this collecting habit of yours, does it cause trouble in any other areas?
Well, the boys won't visit anymore.
Oh, why not?
They say they can barely squeeze into their rooms, and it bothers them that I'm storing so much stuff there. But it's not such a big deal. They're not there most of the time, so I don't see why a few extra items should bother them.
Do other people also avoid coming over?
Yeah, a lot of our friends prefer to meet outside the house.
Okay.
We used to entertain a bit, but we really don't as much. My husband says it's because the house smells, but it's an old house. They collect smells sometimes, you know?
It does sound like the house is a bit cluttered.
Cluttered, sure, but clutter isn't the end of the world.
Well, how long has this habit of collecting things been going on?
I've always hated to throw stuff out, ever since I was a kid, but things never got to the point where people commented until my kids were in their teens. Sometimes other kids didn't want to visit, but nothing too drastic. When the kids left home, I suddenly had more space available. And maybe that's when it started to get to my husband. But it's just been the last 2 or 3 years that we've really been fighting about this. He says it's been getting worse and worse.
Did anyone in your family have the same collecting habit?
My mom, but she was worse. When she passed away, we realized that she was living among walls of boxes. There was a narrow passageway from her front door to her kitchen, and then to the bathroom bedroom. But everything else was crammed. She remembered living under communism, and she wouldn't bear to throw anything out. My sister didn't want all that stuff, so I brought it home with me.
And how did your husband feel about that?
He wasn't too thrilled.
I can hear that. I didn't really ask you about your health. Could you tell me a bit about your health?
My health?
Yeah, have you ever had any health problems?
No, I've always been really healthy.
Yeah, no recent trauma, hospital visits?
No.
Genetic illness in the family?
No.
Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental illness?
No.
No. You've never been sad for a long time?
No, not really.
Depression?
No.
Have you ever heard voices that other people don't hear?
No.
No. Okay. Thank you for coming in, and thank you for sharing all that with me. I do think that there's stuff to talk about here. So if you would be willing, I would love for you to come back maybe once a week with your husband.
I'm sure that makes him happy.
Yeah, okay.
All right, no problem.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So this client does meet all the criterion for a hoarding disorder. Hoarding disorder has often been effectively treated. Evidence-based practices that have been effective are cognitive behavioral therapy, psychoeducation, and motivational interviewing, at which we are experts. People with hoarding disorders often respond well to various types of antidepressants, especially selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors and selective serotonin and norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors.